Hi friends, this is Ammu Jayaraj. So today we shall see the strategy and resources of GS2 paper, which comprises of what and all polity, international affairs, and also governance. So last session we saw the important resources as well as the strategy for the GS first paper. So, regarding my profile, I have done BE Civil Engineering and I've got All India 141 in Civil Services Examination of 2019, and my optional subject is Geography. And regarding subscription of Unacademy, if you are interested, you can either go for the plus or the iconic subscription. For both the subscriptions, you will be getting a discount of 10% when you are using the referral code AMMU. AMMU. Okay. So now we shall straight away go to the subject itself. So first of all, we shall discuss the major resources to be used for each and every portion of the syllabus. So regarding GS2 and GS3, they are very dynamic papers. So you need to prepare each and every portion of the syllabus. So first we shall see the syllabus under polity and the resources to be used for the particular portions. So under polity, first you have the constitution, the basic structure, functions, responsibilities of union and states, and then parliament and state legislature, its functions, powers, privileges, judiciary, pressure groups, constitutional post, its powers and functions, then statutory, regulatory, and various quasi-judicial bodies. So for this, the resources, first and foremost, one is Lakshmikant notes. Whatever I had prepared for prelims, I did not write any other notes like static notes of Lakshmikant. Whatever I had prepared for prelims, I just used it for the mains also regarding covering the static portions. For example, if you have constitutional bodies, just to see the article of that particular body, you can take CAG as an example. So in CAG, what is the article associated with CAG? What are its basic functions? So these two things I used to refer. For these things, I used to refer the Lakshmikant notes of prelims. And then for the dynamic portions, I used to refer polity mains special compilation. Any of the institutions mains compilation. I used to do the subject wise current affairs, not the monthly wise current affairs. So in the subject wise current affairs, I referred this polity mains special. And then after that, we shall see each and every portion of the syllabus and the related resources for that portion. For example, for statutory and constitutional posts and bodies. For this syllabus, what are the constitutional posts? Like, for example, you have CAG, Attorney General, Governor, etc. So for this, I referred internet and also certain RS debate summary. I never watched any of the RS debate videos, that is the big picture and all is available. I did not watch all these videos, but I referred the summary alone, which is available in the internet. You just type RS debate summaries, it will be available. So under that, I just went through and I just took notes on these bodies. What and all I took? One is the strength and significance, then the limitations of these bodies, and the solutions to overcome these limitations. So these three are very important for the constitutional and statutory bodies. And then regarding judiciary. Judiciary is a very important portion because you get questions most of the years I have seen questions from judiciary portion. So what and all I saw, I again referred internet for all these portions, that is all these topics. One is the independence of judiciary. whether our judiciary is really independent or not. And then about the basic structure of the constitution. What is the role of judiciary in the basic structure of the constitution? What are the related judgments related to basic structure? And then coming to accountability part, whether our judiciary is answerable to its judgments, whether is there any acts governing the accountability of judiciary, what are the major steps taken by government or judiciary itself to improve the accountability and efficiency. All these things I just referred. And then about these things are very familiar things, like familiar terms: overreach, judicial overreach, activism, restraint, and review. All these things I referred internet. That is, what is judicial overreach? Any recent instances where judiciary had this overreach or judicial activism or restraint? And then what are its positives? What are its negatives? Like this, I compiled one note itself for each and everything. And then regarding local government and parliament, I referred second ARC, Administrative Reforms Commission. So that ARC report summary I referred. I did not go through the entire report. You can just type second ARC summary in Google and it will be available. Under that, you have all these parliament, local government, what and all solutions for improving the local governance, and whatever reforms needed for improving the efficiency of parliament or the legislations, etc. All these things are available. And again, I referred Rajya Sabha TV debate summary for parliamentary reforms. And then there is one chapter in Economic Survey of 2019-20. That is, from competitive federalism to competitive sub-federalism. So this chapter also I referred for this part. Okay. And this is one sample note of whatever I had maintained. This is the notes which I had compiled for my that 5-in-1 notebook. So because of this 5-in-1 thing, it is quite I had limited space only, so that is why it seems to be like this. So constitutional bodies, I had explained about CAG, CAG, UPSC, and Election Commission. So what and all I had mentioned, that is, one thing is the article, associated article for CAG. Then what are the functions, major functions, significance, issues related to CAG. If issues are being mentioned, then solutions are easy. Just whatever issues being mentioned, just see the solutions for that problems. That's all. So, like this, I used to maintain notes for each and every constitutional body, major statutory bodies like whatever be CVC and all. I used to just mention like this. Just 4-5 points is enough. You can develop these points into beautiful answers. So then you have UPSC, then it is Election Commission, same thing. Article, functions, whatever recent reforms being done in UPSC, what are the issues faced by UPSC. So same things, and if there is any judgment related to the constitutional bodies or whatever you're writing, so that also you can just mention. See, I have mentioned here Session versus Union of India judgment for EC. That is, Chief Election Commissioners and Election Commissioner have equal powers. Okay. So like this, I used to maintain my notes for polity. Now comes the other portion, that is the comparison of Indian constitutional scheme with that of other countries. If you see this portion, it is very huge and vast because there are lots of countries and it is impossible for us to make notes and prepare for each and every country, like comparing our constitution with other countries. And when I was going through the previous year question papers, I found that UPSC is not very much interested in this portion. However, there was a question being asked last year So definitely we have to focus on this portion also. So what I did, I focused only on India versus USA and UK. So in terms of president, how it is different from USA, how India's presidential election is different from that of USA, powers of president, how it is different. So like that, I just made notes and prepared that. And then about speaker, then parliament, how what kind of parliament they have, what kind of parliament we have. Then about the constitution, then judiciary. In terms of all these aspects, I just made notes on differences and similarities between India and US UK constitutions. Okay. And then last year there was a question on French secularism. However, even though I had not prepared very much about that particular portion, but still it was a manageable question. It was not a very difficult question to be answered. And then coming to the salient features of Representation of People's Act. So for this again I referred internet. What I saw first one is the salient features of RPA Act. Just you can type it on Google. You will get lot of material on the features, critical analysis of RPA and all. You can just refer that in internet itself. Then about the recent changes or amendments made by Parliament under Representation of People's Act, important judgments related to election, RPA, etc. For example, Lily Thomas case. So all these things I just made notes and prepared. Then comes the dynamic portions, that is government policies, development in various sectors, NGOs, SHGs, welfare schemes, and issues relating to poverty and hunger. These are very dynamic subjects, and for this I did not refer any book as such. What and all I referred? First thing itself is internet for NGOs, SHGs, and pressure groups. So what you need to see, that is, NGO means its definition. Is there any act governing NGOs? And then what are the functions of NGOs? What types of NGOs are there? Like in the aspects like dealing with economy, there are NGOs, environment, polity, or development, like for gender empowerment, we have NGOs. So, like that, what type of NGOs? Examples of NGOs. What are the problems faced by NGOs? What are their limitations? And why NGOs are essential for Indian democracy. Like this, I prepared. In the same way, I prepared for SHGs and also for pressure groups. Internet is more than sufficient. At times you get lot of things related to these topics in editorials also. That also you can just make a note of it on some book, like whatever polity book you are maintaining. In that you can make notes and you can prepare for these portions. And apart from that, I referred Niti Ayog's New India at 75 report, strategy for New India at 75 report. There was one chapter called inclusion. Under this chapter, there are various other chapters related to poverty, gender, health, education, etc. So that chapter I went through, especially for statistics, schemes, their analysis and all. And then comes Yojana. Always there will be women special, children special, health special Yojanas, so that you can just go through for this particular syllabus. And then again I referred internet for poverty. So for poverty, I just referred what are the committees and their recommendation. You have Tendulkar committee, Rangarajan committee, etc. So I just referred what are their recommendations and statistics, basic statistics about poverty, this below poverty line, and socio-economic caste census, what is its importance, what is its relevance, all these things I just made note of it. And then comes this magazine, Down to Earth. If possible, try to go through this Down to Earth magazine. It is very, very good. At times, they give overall picture of certain policies, acts, and schemes of government. When you refer any book, you will either get negative or positive aspects. But in down to earth, they will give overall picture. Positives will be there, negatives will be there, solutions also will be there. Solutions are all very creative kind, so you can make use of those solutions in your answer and it will look very attractive. So if you get time, please do refer this magazine. It is really good, especially for the critical analysis and solution for various schemes. Like if they have some limitations, what are the solutions to overcome the limitations of such policies, so that you can go through this magazine down to earth. And then again comes the current affairs compilation of governance. So all this current affairs related things, one of the examples is national education policy. All these things you can refer from that. Now comes the governance. That is, last page we saw the dynamic portions. Now this is the static portions. That is the transparency, accountability, e-governance, citizens charters, etc. So for that, I referred again the second ARC report summary. There you have all these things: accountability, citizens charter, e-governance, RTI, etc. And then I referred Yojana for these things like Digital India, e-governance, their importance, what are the models of e-governance, what are its limitations, what are its potentials, all these things. For these things, Yojana. Yojana not only gives statistics but also content. So it is very important for these portions. And then Niti Ayog Good Practices Resource Book. So this I had earlier mentioned for GS1. The same way, it can also be used for GS2. The same initiatives, whatever notes you have made for GS1, the same thing can be used for GS2 also. The initiatives taken for health, education, skill development, etc., are there, like well explained what are the actions taken by states and what are the successful projects. Everything has been mentioned in this book so that you can give as examples. And then again I referred internet for role of civil servants, role of civil services in democracy, aspects of governance, etc. And then again, Niti Ayog, New India at 75. This chapter I referred. What and all this under this book, I referred these two chapters. This you would have already covered under the last thing, like dynamic portions. I had already referred. I mean, I've already mentioned. So this is a new chapter, governance. Regarding under this chapter, you have all this civil services reforms. What are the problems faced by civil servants or civil services? How to overcome that? All these things have been very well explained under this chapter so that you can refer for this portion. Now comes international relations. So the polity part is over. Resources for each and every portion of the syllabus has been explained. And now comes the international relations. So here you have India versus international, that is neighborhood relations, bilateral, Indian diaspora, important institutions and their structure and mandate. So for resources, first and foremost thing is the mains compilation, subject-wise compilation. Any institution's compilation will be sufficient. And then India versus neighboring countries. All the neighboring countries are there like Pakistan, Afghanistan, China, Myanmar, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka. So with these countries, all the political relation, security relations, economical relations, social relations, is there any threats associated and what are the possible solutions in terms of like with respect to Pakistan, China and all these aspects need to be covered. And if at all they are asking any question, you can give like how the relation is between India and Bhutan. Like that, there is a question means you can actually divide all these things into these aspects: political relations, economical relations, social relations. Like that, you can give subtitles and mention. Okay, so for this I referred internet and some parts will be covered from this international affairs mains compilation also. And then apart from the neighbors, we have to see all these things, that is India versus USA, Russia, European Union, and another bigger one is ASEAN. Then Middle East countries, especially Israel, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Gulf regions, because Gulf comprises of most of our NRIs, and then Africa and Central Asia. This also will be well covered under international affairs means compilation itself, but you just do it in this terms, like you just segregate it in terms of political relations, security relations, economical, social, possible threats, and possible solutions. Like that, you can segregate it and prepare. And then comes the strength and limitations of organization where India is part, like SARC, Indian Ocean Rim Association, BIMSTEC, SCO, BRICS, etc. Institutional organizations. These are the important institutional organizations. So their strength, their problems faced by them, and the solutions. Last year, WTO was having lot of relevance, so I had prepared for WTO. Like that, current affairs related any institution is there. That institution's strength, limitations, and solutions we need to see. And then about role of NRIs in international relations, that I just referred internet. It will be there in the compilation also. You can just refer that because that is being mentioned here. Indian diaspora is there, their interest. So that also you need to refer. Now regarding the fodder points. In GS2, you can very well write the content, but adding all these fodder points can make your paper really attractive, and that can definitely give some extra marks, and that will decide whether you are getting an above average score or not. So for example, like for articles, if at all there is any question being asked, you can very well mention articles related to that particular question. If anything related to fundamental right is asked, you can definitely use articles. If it is about parliament, if it is about the parliamentary privileges, some constitutional bodies, then do mention the articles. Then Google the landmark judgments of Supreme Court. If something asked about death sentence means, very well you can include the Bachchan Singh case there. Because that is the landmark judgment for death sentence, regarding death sentence, so that you can refer. So like that, you just quote, you can just Google and see what are the landmark judgments of Supreme Court, just note it down and relate it to that particular question. And regarding schemes, statistics, and flowcharts, Yojana will be very much helpful. Then I already mentioned about Niti Aayog Good Practices Resource Book for examples. You can give examples, some of the initiatives taken by the states. And then Law Commission Recommendation Summary. You can just Google it and see it is available. That also you can just refer for solutions. If any solutions to be given for overcoming the limitations, then this will be well enough. And then again, Niti Aayog, New India at 75 reports, inclusion and governance. These two chapters are very important. It has a lot of statistics, positives of schemes, negatives of schemes. Some graphical representations are also there. So you can very well refer these chapters. And then this one, Annual Policy Review of PRS India. This comprises of new acts, initiatives taken by the government. So just refer that. Just a glance is sufficient, not more than that. It will not have any kind of analysis. It is only for improving the content. Okay. So these are the important fodder point sources. Now comes my notes, like sample notes regarding articles. What I did, I used to, it never used to get retained in my memory. So what I did, I had already mentioned about the five subject notebook what I had maintained. So in the particular portion of polity, at the beginning I had stuck one paper and I had written all the articles, important articles, like example DPSP means to promote welfare of the people, Article 38. So under DPSP, what are all the important articles? Fundamental duty, center-state relations, what are the articles? National emergency, anti-defection, government related, what and all are there? Ordinance, what is the article? Parliament, under parliament, judiciary, these are the major articles. Like this, I used to just I had written just I just mentioned the articles, and I used to revise it on a weekly basis, and slowly I started retaining all these articles in my memory, and within a very considerable time I was able to relate these articles to the particular question I was writing. And then comes the judgments. Just like articles, judgment also hold a very important role in GS2. So definitely you can write judgments also. This also in the same way I had mentioned, like this Kedarnath Singh case. What is it about? Then what are the SC's cases related to elections? Lily Thomas case. Then PUCL, S. Swami. Like this, I had just mentioned all these cases, and I used to revise it on weekly basis. And then comes the international relations notes. This is just an example because last year India and Israel relations was of great importance. So I just drew the timeline, and these are the good relationship in terms of political, economic, security, and cultural. This is what I meant, that segregation. So political means under political, these are the points what I can write. De-hyphenation is the most important thing, that is started developing independent relations with Palestine and Israel. And then 25 years of diplomatic ties. What are the economic relations? Security wise, what are the deals we have with Israel? And what are the cultural relations? Some media thing and all that you can mention. So, like this, I used to maintain notes. And while writing the exam, also, I used to segregate like this and write. So you will be getting lot of points, and your answer also will look really structurized. So these are all about GS2 preparation. I hope you like the video. Thank you so much. All my best wishes.